once said that if Antarctica were music, it would be Mozart. Art, Michelangelo. Literature, Shakespeare. And yet she is something even greater. The only place on Earth that is still as it should be. Untouched. The last wilderness on Earth. Antarctica is the most beautiful and alluring mistress. And with your first encounter, there is no doubt that it will be love at first sight. But be aware, with no provocation whatsoever, she will change. She will break your heart. Then she will eat you up and spit you out.
The most hostile environment on Earth.
Now, at the end of the world, 7 teams and 17 contestants from 6 nations are taking on the most remote and hostile environment on the planet to compete in a race that has been 100 years in the making. In 1911, Norwegian polar explorer Roald Amundsen and British Royal Navy officer Robert Falcon Scott set out from their respective Antarctic base camps and began an epic race to be the first man ever at the South Pole. This was a duel so challenging, so perilous, so grueling, and so punishing that only 5 men returned alive. For the Norwegians, though, a historic first and precious victory. It is 2011, 100 years on, and 17 adventurers will follow in the steps of the 2 great explorers before them. In an attempt to change history, they will battle it out in the toughest endurance race known to man.
All the theorising, all the expectations, all the bullshit's now out of the way. We can actually do what we came here to do.
I take one step at a time. This is it. Every step that we take now is a step closer to home.
This place is dictating what we do. It's not us who dictate what we do.
There's nothing. There's just nothing. There's no reference to the real world.
What? I don't see any life here.
It was Kim Stanley who said that below the 40th latitude, there is no law. Below the 50th, no God. Below the 60th, no common sense. And below the 70th, no intelligence whatsoever. And that is exactly what these men and women are about to discover.
It's tough out here. The climate, the weather, the physical beating this is taking on our bodies.
The visibility was awful. It almost makes you feel sick. We've got a few blisters and a few achy backs in the team.
I haven't really slept for 3 days.
Got a really bad chest infection.
So the doctors put me on a steroid.
Just had a really horrible migraine headache.
I was pretty keen on quitting because I don't want to ruin my knee.
Oh my goodness, why am I here?
It is scary. It's a very scary place.
The body can only go so far.
I picked up frostbite very early in the race and the bit started falling off. We found it on the floor one night and we put it in the cooking pot. So it's all back in the body somewhere.
But no matter how brutal her punishment, these athletes will never surrender. Nothing can come between them and a lifelong dream to reach the pole, except the cruel mistress herself.
Mark's had a bit of a problem. He's not feeling too good. So been carrying his pole for most of today. 2 poles is a lot harder than 1.
Can't get enough breath. Past 2 days, really struggling to get my breath. Got some kind of chest infection. I called the doctor last night. And I just haven't got enough air to do the basic things.
It was a white out. I must have got disorientated and dizzy and collapsed. Next thing I know, just woke up on the floor. I came round, I just instantly knew there was something wrong with my arm. This is really, really painful.
We stopped to put the tent up. While we were putting the tent up, he just couldn't breathe. He just went down on one knee.
By the time I got to the tent, I was right on the limit of my minimum amount of oxygen.
By luck and good fortune, the cars were coming over the horizon, so I got him in the tent, got him warm.
When I got in the tent there with Mark, he had a terrible wheezy chest. He could hardly move around in the tent. He was a little bit cyan-nosed, blue around the lips.
So we need a medical evacuation plane from this point back to Novo ASAP.
The doctor subsequently told me that he didn't think I would have lived if I'd have
I want pictures of my little girl out today. I actually think I'd probably be a lot better in 3-4 days. I'd spent all day thinking I was letting people down. I'd not been able to do this. The worst way I could let them down would be not going home. So...
Antarctica is a cruel mistress. Sometimes she allows you to be here. Sometimes it feels as though she wants to destroy you.
For those who are spared, the experience does yield its rewards.
After 12 days of incredible hardship, we come over a rise, and what we see before us here is the halfway mark. It just seems unbelievable. You could travel for thousands of miles in that direction, and you would not see a soul.
I'm on a big ski trip, and I got the bad hairdo.
Do you not have enough food to last the journey? Then you need Yum Yum.
If you go out to sea on a windy day and you take that sea and you freeze it instantaneously and you make it white, that is what Antarctica is like.
Life-threatening conditions, shock and severe injury are all symptoms of a cold sweat. And here at -40 degrees, at the coldest, highest and windiest continent on Earth, a cold sweat is unavoidable. So who are these men and women who subject themselves to the cruelty of this place? What is it that drives them? A search for meaning or enlightenment? The transcendence of physical and mental boundaries? Or merely a calling far beyond any reason?